It's all right.
But I'm getting there. What up, guys? Hello. Taylor Toxin back in the studio again, and I have Justyn Rippie.
Hello.
Just out of curiosity, the Rippie.
The Rippie.
Where's that from? Like, what's the origin?
So, as far as I know, the way my name, our last name is spelled, it comes, from what I can tell, it's Prussian. So before
Prussian.
Yeah, Prussian. So Prussia used to be like this little itty bitty country that kind of existed around Germany, kind of that whole area, you know.
Okay.
So like pre-World War II it existed, but during World War II, Germany took it over, and now it's been acquired as part of Germany ever since. But as far as I can trace back, you know, coat of arms and family stuff, there's a lot of mixture of German and French, kind of that whole big pocket of that European area. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to find information because there, I mean, obviously, you know, time documents get lost and things get destroyed and things aren't documented.
Unfortunately.
So
your background is part German.
Yeah, part German, basically a lot of European descendant.
Okay.
Yeah,
you have a little bit of everything, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so on my mom's side, I know there's like Irish.
Yeah,
there's some stuff. So from what I know, a lot of that early family history, it was pretty much a lot of that European immigration during like the 1800s into America and whatnot. So yeah, and basically what I know, it comes from a line of farmers.
Of farmers.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, you know, humble work, right?
It's the type of work that makes a man a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, Mr. Rippie.
Yes.
For those of us that don't know who you are, I know who you are.
You know who I am.
Of course. But for everyone that's listening, watching, what is it that you do and why do you do it?
Well, what I do is, I'm the drummer for 7 Days Rest. I think that'd be the first thing to cover. Music's been, you know, a big part of my life. You know, I've been doing it since I've been, 6th grade of middle school. That's when I kind of really took off with it, I would say. So, been doing band since I was, I don't know, well, I'm short.
Baby.
I mean, I'm short, so, you know, I haven't grown, you know, probably like only 6 inches in the past, you know, like 10 years, which is sad. But yeah,
it has its benefits, I would assume.
it does. I mean, I kind of like being short. It's nice. You
There
can
you go.
crawl in the smaller spaces and work on the car. You can get your hand in those places and whatnot. But yeah, no, music's my big thing. Like to call myself a nerd. I'm really into computers and whatnot too.
In the best way, you are a nerd. For
Yeah,
sure. Because on the flyer, I put musician and tech genius. Which, by the way, guys, if you guys haven't been to the shows that I've been promoting in the past, Mr. Justyn here has been my sound guy, and he has basically saved the fucking day for me because I had somebody else. He got busy, he got caught up, and then here's Justyn just like, yo, I got you on his iPad. Like, the fuck?
Yeah,
seriously,
technology is amazing, man.
It's
It's
really
crazy
is.
what you can do this day and age.
And you've been going to school for tech, correct?
Yeah, so I'm getting my bachelor's degree in May here in computer science.
Congrats.
So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of more of the science STEM part of it, which I mean, I don't mind. I enjoy it. But, you know, I started my tech career off as, you know, service desk in IT.
Yeah.
Got a lot of, you know, basic service level stuff, you know, helping people, you know, oh, my Outlook isn't working, and oh, okay, let me go in there, fix it like that.
Did you turn it off, miss?
Oh,
Turn it
dude,
back
you know how many
on?
times I asked that and people would just be like, yes, and you're like, no, you
don't lie to me.
Come on, you can be honest with me. I'm not gonna get mad. But yeah, so start off with that when I was 20. So I started that off back in 2018. Just turned 20, was able to get my first apartment with that, and you know, I was still taking music pretty serious at that time. I was just you know, playing bass and drums at a local church in Albuquerque, so you know, I had that outlet, and I decided I was going to buy a electric guitar to learn, and started from there. And you know, I unfortunately not injured, but I tore my my pec, and that kind of really brought me out of the game for a while. It was way worse than I think what the doctors were telling me about it. It took me 9 weeks to get an MRI from when I tore it. and I eventually led into this horrible inflammation of chronic tendonitis in my biceps. So I couldn't drum, I couldn't play bass. It was all excruciatingly painful. So that was a really big low point. But then I just started to, go through a lot of therapy, get back into it. And the end of 2019, I got, asked to audition for 7 Days Rest. And, I was still going through some health problems with muscles and skeletal issues with that. And that's kind of where everything's led to today. Kind of, just joining a band and being like, yeah, I play drums. And it's all led from here in the past 3 years, which is kind of really crazy to think about, but if you would have asked me, what's your life looking like in 3 years that day, I would have had a very different answer. Yeah. Would have had a very different answer for that. So, but
totally understand. For someone that plays multiple instruments, are you in only one band or are you associated with other bands? How's that going?
I've definitely auditioned. I'm kind of taking it frugal at this point because I'm trying to finish school. So I've been kind of throwing a lot of energy into that. But I've auditioned for multiple bands, but they've kind of been outside of town and just kind of, I felt like it'd be really kind of an inconvenience, but I really wanted to because it was like I got to ask audition for bass to play in a band as a bassist, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been sick because I love bass. Like I love bass more than I love guitar.
Fair enough.
Dude, there's just something about bass. That's
Can you
just
sing and play?
No, dude.
Ooh.
You do not want to hear my singing voice.
That's why
awful. That's why I'm a drummer. That's why I like to be in the background for that. But no, I mean, I've considered it, but I just think it kind of right now it's too much. But I would eventually kind of like to branch out and play some different genres. I love.
What kind
metal.
of other genres do you like? I mean, because sorry for interrupting.
No,
but,
you're good.
Those of us that don't know, 7 Days Rest is a metalcore, hardcore.
I would say we're more alternative metal.
Alternative
metal, kind of more bridging that line of hard rock, alternative rock, kind of like that Korn area a little bit. Like kind of when you think alternative metal, a little bit of dirty vocals here and there. So I would say that's what I kind of classify it as. We can get heavy with some of our songs,
right?
But I think to wrap it up, it would be alternative metal would be a good thing for that. But you get to branch into different metal areas. You get to kind of
fuck with it.
Yeah, you kind of get to lay back in that, and there's other songs where I'm slamming double bass and just going crazy. So
that is crazy.
Yeah,
I've seen you. I've seen my ex drummer. I've seen a bunch of drummers just do some shit, and I'm just like, how?
Oh, dude, it's some of the stuff you think of, dude. Like when you're writing it, you're like, oh, this is easy. Like you write it on paper, and you're like, oh, okay, that's easy. You got to sit down, and you're like, dude, what the hell did I just write? Like, oh my god, yeah.
So you write your music?
Yeah. So I kind of like to listen to the rhythm.
Okay.
Like what the bassist and the guitars are doing, and I think that's something I picked up in jazz band.
Nice.
I played drum set for big band, jazz band in high school. So cool. A lot of like with that, you would need to accent with the band because it would just bring like that intensity. So like if you're playing like a line like ba da 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 something like that, everyone needs to hit on that because then it makes like this huge impact. So I got adjusted to listening to like what soloists are doing, what like everyone else was doing. I kind of be able to like, okay, play this cool lick and like go into like match with them. So like I try to bring that to what I play now because like it really helps just like drive that energy with certain parts of the songs and whatnot. Or like, when you do rhythm syncopation, when everyone's syncopated together, that you get that sting face. You're like, I know that.
You know it. That is a really good feeling, honestly.
Oh, dude, it is.
It's everyone playing something different, but it's all in tune. It's just
it's like feeling. One energy syncopated. It's sick. It's awesome.
It's kind of like sex, to be honest. Because like what when
it's
you're
kind of that feeling.
Cause when you're having sex, for those of you that haven't had sex yet, definitely try it. When you're in the zone and you're like taking your time and I love this line. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
Yeah.
So like while you're making love, it's just like you get into this rhythm and you're just really happy. You're not thinking about anything else other than what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing with music.
The same thing with music. Yeah, your mind kind of flips a switch, and then all of a sudden you just kind of you move into this alternate like state of mind, and you're like and then once you're out of it, you're like, whoa, what just happened?
What can I do to get back there?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know it. You're a musician too. So when you
It's a good
you get in
feeling.
that state, you're just like, oh, I don't want to leave this. And then once you're out of it, you're just like,
What just happened?
you're like on like a crash. You're like, dude, what just happened?
It's kind of like being asleep and you're dreaming while you're on stage, and then you get off and you're like,
your hands are shaking a little bit because you're like,
the
what
adrenaline.
did I just do? Yeah,
you-
yeah.
You did something freaking amazing.
Yeah,
with
you
what
did. And you know it too. And especially when you can get past like the way I put it is kind of like you getting past your own ego a
Yeah,
bit. Like you're kind of like, you know what you're doing, but you're still kind of like afraid to get in
Mhm.
that zone. But like when you kind of put that aside, like that other part just like takes over. And you're just like
totally get it.
fluid and just you're not even thinking
You're
about
no, it's just muscle.
it's just
memory.
muscle memory at that point. Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
like, I would imagine you see like this symbol, like, oh, I'm about to hit you. Bah!
Oh,
Like,
yeah, dude.
I
It's
bet
like,
it's a good feeling.
like when the 7 Days Rest plays Echoes, for example,
Mhm.
like, you know, when I'm doing like that really cool split thing that like that kind of like during like the verse,
I think I know.
I literally close my eyes when I play that, and I just I let it just go because I'm like, I have to,
Yeah.
like, in order for it to feel right, I can't think about it. Because
You
if I
just-
think about it,
just let it
I'm
happen.
gonna be like tensing up while I'm playing it. So
I know.
it's, yeah.
I know exactly what
Yep.
you mean. That's crazy. I mean, that's what a good drummer is, honestly, essentially. Really quick, I want to get into your childhood, bro. So
Yeah.
I know you're a drummer. I know you're a techie. Where were you born? What school did you go to?
Yeah.
Were you a punk as a kid, or were you like a goody two shoes?
So I would say I was actually born in Idaho. My dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
So I was actually born in Idaho.
So you're like an army brat? Is
A little
that
bit.
same?
I'll kind of get into that. So I was born in Idaho. My dad was stationed there when I was
Mhm.
born in '97, and then a year later he got orders to go to England. And so from about 1 to 5 years old, I was actually in England for
Damn.
that toddler section of my life.
Do you have any memories, like core memories? about it?
Vaguely,
Vague.
the only thing I really remember, if I'm being honest, is kind of where we lived at, and going to in England, their bars were called pubs.
Yeah.
So like, and they were kind of like family friendly too. They had like family friendly, you know, sections where you could bring your family in and sit down and have dinner. And I remember going to those vaguely, little bits of memories of like visiting, you know, castles and whatnot.
Ooh, that's nice.
My very like memory I can like actually really remember is being on the London Eye as a kid.
London Eye.
So yeah, it's like a big Ferris wheel with these
Oh,
big glass
Yeah.
enclosures, and I mean, you can literally Google London Eye. So I remember being on that as a kid.
Damn.
And that was
The
like,
view, I bet, is.
I mean, I was terrified. You know, here's me, a 5-year-old me looking down. I'm like, I can
No.
see through this thing. I'm freaking out. You know, like you
My
don't know what's going on.
No, I can
So
understand.
yeah, and then so after that period, after my dad got honorable discharge, medical discharge from the Air
Mm.
Force, so we decided to move back here because we had family still here. So we thought it'd be kind of a good idea just to come back. You know, we have family here and
That's nice.
whatnot. So I essentially grew up here.
Essentially.
Elementary school. I mean, all my schooling has been, you know, done here. So I mean, elementary school, you know, I was pretty much the straight A kid. You know, I was
Mhm.
pretty like harped on to get good grades. So, which I mean, it's nothing bad with that.
No, of course not.
Middle school, you know, I mean, the middle school phase is just weird. You really don't know
Who you are.
who you are at middle school. You're trying to get some identity established.
I
You
get
go
it.
you go through the weird phases. Like I guess one of my weird phases, I went through the Bieber hair.
Oh.
I like grew my hair out like really
Shit.
super long and did that. You know,
The whip.
Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah, I did that. Kind of got in with the wrong crowd. I might have said it was the wrong crowd, where I might have been bullied, and I just didn't accept that. I just didn't think it was, even though I probably think about it, probably was. I just kind of threw it under the rug.
So
I
you,
think.
you were in a group that was taunting you, and
Yeah,
you just accepted it.
yeah, I just kind of
Okay.
accepted it a little bit, just to kind of be like, haha, you know,
Yeah.
I'm fine with this.
It's kind of weird finding the separation between the two.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
it.
Because it wasn't ever like, oh, I'm going to steal your lunch money, I'm going to beat you up. It was more of like, hey, you should help me with your homework, like with my homework. You should do my homework
Mhm.
for me. Or else, you know, I'm going to tell this about you.
That's
like stuff
mean.
like that. Yeah. So I like now I realize that I'm like, yeah, it was probably a little bit of form of bullying, and I was like, yeah, I probably should have realized that. But
Yeah.
you're naive at that point. You're really
Yeah,
you're trying to.
but it's a learning.
It is.
Thing.
It's a learning experience. Yeah. So moved through that, and then definitely got into high school, and definitely realized that like bands where I belong. So that band nerd. So I guess I had a little bit of I don't know. I guess kind of a edgy goth. Not really sure how to describe it, but definitely got into a lot of metal. Avenged Sevenfold's really big.
Oh my god.
When I was in high school, 2012 to 2016, like really freaking big. So got into that. Lots of Rammstein, just that grungy, just edgy type
Rammstein
stuff.
Is everywhere.
Yeah, so definitely did that. Wore black. Got my ears pierced. That, and started to gauge them a little bit my senior year. So
it just kept going. I know.
Yeah, so and I kind of went between like this like nerdy prep look and kind of all black edgy. Like I was able to kind of pull both of them off.
Yeah. I was gonna say
So
you probably like found a good balance.
Yeah, it just kind of depend on the day. Like, oh, I don't want to look a little bit nicer and preppy, or like, do I just want to wear all black and just be like, I hate my life, blah blah blah. It was a good balance. So it was a good balance.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm glad you weren't a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
when you were
I
a kid.
I had a cool car. Definitely got me in trouble a little bit with the school. I had a 1992 Firebird. I still have it to this day.
A Firebird.
Yeah,
That's the ones with the like huge front end, right? Kind of similar to a Charger.
Yeah, and the Camaro of the day. Because I had a third gen Firebird.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, they were very similar to the Camaros. The third gen Camaros.
Nice car.
So yeah, I mean, I literally hand sanded it myself to get it painted.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a lot of work in it, and got custom exhausts on it. So
it's your baby.
Being a dumb teenager, you rev that thing up in the parking lot, getting it to pop and backfire, and get in trouble with the teachers a little bit, revoke some parking passes. Nothing too serious to get me in trouble, but just enough to kind of
just enough. Like everyone in the school knew who you were. I'm assuming
everyone knew who I was. I had no clue who everybody else was.
It's fair.
Like people come Justyn, I'm like, who the hell are you, dude?
Hi?
Like, hi, like, who are you? I've never met you in my life. Like, yeah,
I know. I've had,
it's a weird feeling because you get caught off guard and you're like,
what do I say?
You're like, what's up, man? Like,
just be polite.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but you're gonna be continuing your music and you're gonna be famous one day, so just get fucking used to it.
Yeah,
Justyn, hi.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's that guy?
You're like, do you know him?
Who's that person? Do you know them?
No.
Yeah.
When you go on tour, it's gonna be happening
dude.
a lot.
It probably will be.
So.
Yeah.
What is your plan, honestly? Because I know that the professionality that you have for the band, as we were talking before the podcast, that you're trying to do the best you can, show the best amount of professionality, get to the point where you want to go. Where is it that you want to go? I'm assuming it's touring. I'm assuming it's being a fucking badass techie, where you can be the drummer and you can be the sound guy, I bet.
Yeah.
What is your ultimate goal, though?
So I think my ultimate goal, I definitely want to do a tour one day.
Nice.
I definitely think I want to be able to do that one day, just to freaking go out and just play for crowds. I mean, just that energy feeling you get, have a good team behind you and just, let that happen. But in terms of like, I guess tech, I really want to expand into the audio business. I over 2021, I actually got to learn sound, learn how to do live sound, because I kind of got roped in as being the bass and drummer for this local church I play at. I kind of got roped into the audio side of things when COVID hit.
Fair.
And everyone was like, "Oh my god, like, dude, you made it sound really good in here." And I was like, I don't know, I just did
like, I know what to do.
I didn't know anything what I was doing at the time. I was like, I just kind of listened because I had a really good sound system put in my car in my Firebird. So like I would sit there and just tweak stuff to where like that bass would just like slam in your chest, but you could still hear everything. So I kind of just treated it as like that, and then I eventually started watching YouTube videos and
then just getting
into it.
Yep.
And when when Some Days Rest recorded with Jimmy, we went to do a single with him. I got talking with him, learning that stuff, and he offered to train me on
Nice.
sound at one of the local bars in town, and I eventually really got a lot of my skill set
Uh-huh.
from that, learning from that and training under him for about 8 months. I was able to really, kind of just learn how to do things. I'd ask questions. I would
Yeah.
watch him, just kind of eyeball him. Oh, that's what he's doing with that. Be able to listen, be like, oh, okay, so that's how you EQ a kick drum. Okay, that's what you want to look for in vocal is when you're
That's the nice
equaling
thing
them.
about
Yeah,
having a teacher, because you don't know what the fuck you're looking for
yeah,
until
and then teaching about miking techniques, different
Yeah.
ways to mic stuff, and how so just learning all that stuff was a really great benefit, and that eventually led me to purchasing my own music software and to
Mhm.
creating my own music
Yeah.
at that point. And and still to this day, I go back to some of the old tracks I worked on for that church, and I've been remixing them, and they're just 10 times better
Oof.
from when I started. And I'm like, ooh, like, and now I'm starting to like hear stuff in my ears. I'm like, no, this needs to happen here. So it's like, I really hope within the next 5 to 10 years I can probably, like, I really want to start my own audio business
That'd be gnarly.
and really just try to get out there, do a lot of work, do the work, and just really be professional about it. Because I really think there's kind of a lack of professionalism in the music industry sometimes.
Yes.
And I would really love to see that professionalism, like whether you're doing this in a small venue or a stadium. I feel like it all really just needs to have that very professional, like, kind of anything you do in life, right? Like, you want to have fun with it, but you also want to be professional about it.
Because you want to show that you know what you're
Exactly.
doing. 2, you're reliable. And 3, like, let me know about the next one. So.
Yeah, I know. Like, hey, like, you want to be able to, like, something like I learned how it was, you want to communicate with the band when they're on stage. Like, go up to run up to the stage. I'd point at the stage monitors. I'd, thumbs up or thumbs down. They'd be like, oh, give me, point at the guitar, and they'd be like, up or down like that.
Right.
And I'd run back and adjust it, go back up, thumbs up. So they're running back and forth in a crowded bar, adjusting that. But, like, at the end of the day, when they're satisfied, you could tell that they're satisfied, they're able to do, and then everyone else, that energy kind of just went over everyone else.
Yes. What when you listen to a show that is the treble is too high or there's not enough bass and you can feel it, like it makes the music lack a little bit.
Yeah.
You still appreciate it.
You still appreciate it,
but
yeah.
at the same time, you're like, it could be better.
Yeah, like when you can't hear the vocals, for example, I feel it's like, I dig what like is happening with like the bass and the guitar, but it's like I can't hear the vocals.
Right.
And I really think like that's kind of like I really think like learning audio in a church setting is the vocals have to be there.
Yeah.
And learning that really teaches you how to kind of blend that together, and then you can kind of pick that to other genres.
Makes sense.
It's and it just gives you a good just in general learning everything that I've learned. It just really teaches you how music is brought together in a sense. So,
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Going back into your childhood, I'm curious. Did you grow up with any brothers and sisters?
So I have an older sister who's 10 years older than me.
Oh, where's
so she's currently in Alabama right now, living there.
Gnarly.
So, yeah.
Okay. Why Alabama?
That's where her fiance lives. Yeah.
Congrats,
so,
miss.
Yeah, so yeah, they're out in Alabama living their time of their life. So I'm happy
Nice.
for her. But yeah, so she moved out when she went to college. So that was around, she was like 18, 19 or 20, I think. So kind of really I grew up as an only child in the house at that time. I mean, I do have like memories of us, getting like the brother sister fights and
Classic.
whatnot. But for the most part, once she went up to college, I was basically
The
alone
only
in the
kid?
house. So
Yeah.
it was, kind of, I'd like to say I have a sibling, but I mean, in reality, I kind of grew up as an only child because it was kind of that, that really big development
Right.
area.
Do you guys still communicate? Do you
Yeah,
guys text?
we still text and communicate and whatnot.
That's nice.
So yeah, I think we have a pretty good relationship, which is good. So
There's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that don't talk.
it's just,
Y'all need to hit one another up. Come on.
yeah, definitely don't diss on your,
Yeah.
your
Unless
brother
they
or
fuck
sister. Yeah, because it's nice to be able to kind of turn to each other when you kind of need to and whatnot, and kind of have a good laugh about stuff.
Yeah,
and, have a couple
oh
drinks
my
together
God.
too and whatnot. So
I still need to see my brother drunk. I'm very curious. Hershey, you're gonna get drunk one day with me. Actually, before I leave, you're gonna get drunk with me. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Talking about leaving though, out of curiosity, I know that your main focus is with the band. You guys
Yeah.
want to go on tour. You guys want to really make it big. Not trying to be pessimistic,
Mhm.
though, but if the band didn't work out and you focused on your tech
Yeah.
and you wanted to work on it in a different state,
Yeah.
where would it be? Or are you content in New Mexico?
So I'm kind of content in New Mexico. I mean, I would love opportunities elsewhere if I can
Right.
get, if the opportunities present themselves.
Hey, Justin, we're in Chicago and we heard you're really good. We got this big ass stadium. We need you for it. Are you gonna move?
What's their price?
120,000 a year.
Done deal.
Is that good? 120,000.
6 figures is good. This day and age. Yeah. 6 figures is good. This day and age.
I don't know what's good. I just like come out with a number.
I mean, man, if you're gonna pay me to be a front of house engineer for $120,000,
Do it.
it's a lot of money, man. It's a
God,
lot of money.
imagine that.
But yeah, I mean, I think Albuquerque definitely has potential to be a
Mhm.
really big music scene as it was back in the 80s and
It does.
70s. I would really love to be a part of that, to build that
The history.
again. Just the history of it. I mean, dude, think about it. You had, Metallica playing private shows for Al Unser. Like,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think there's a story about that, about like Metallica playing for like a
I
private
gotta check it
show.
out.
Yeah, there's a lot of history out here. I mean, I talked with my dad. My dad grew up here, and he's told me stories about all these big bands now that
Right.
rolled through Albuquerque and just packed venues.
I didn't know that As I Lay Dying performed here in Santa Fe at the Warehouse 21,
Oh, I didn't
which
know
is
that.
now like a church, I think. And that made me realize like anyone could become anybody. Like
Yeah,
they started
it's
playing
crazy.
here too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you really look at it, and a lot of bands have passed through Albuquerque, and it's kind of. I really think there's a lot of potential with the music scene, so it'd be really kind of cool to, be part of that history. But I mean, if, opportunities present themselves elsewhere for tech, I mean, I've been interested in Denver a lot, Colorado.
Ooh, okay.
I visit there. I really love Denver. It has a great vibe to it.
Oh my, every time I'm there, it's just nothing but happy vibes.
Oh,
I
dude,
have
it's
no
great.
negative memories in Denver.
Yeah, I went up there
whatsoever.
for Labor Day, and I was just like, oh my God, this place is like fantastic. Like, I
Mhm.
love it. The vibes are good. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's just like super chill, like no hard feelings,
Everyone compliments you.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's-
waves.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
everyone's a stoner. Come on.
Oh, dude, they're doing great with that stuff.
Hopefully
All the
we-
tax money.
Hopefully we get to that point, honestly. But
Yeah.
Denver is really that beautiful of a spot.
Oh yeah, it is. I have thought about California too. I know there's Silicon Valley out there, but I'm
Okay.
trying to.
That's expensive though.
I'm trying to watch what's happening there because I know companies are moving out because
Right.
of just like tax incentives and other places. So I mean, I feel like if I want to do tech, I really feel like there's good opportunities for the tech out there. I just want to be able to make sure that I'm compensated well for it, because I
Fair.
feel like sometimes, especially like in the audio stuff, you can be underpaid because people don't really think it's like that big of a skill, but looking at like how, like, if you look at kind of like a typical church setup, for example, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
go with that because I've set that up myself. You're having network stuff together. You're having a lot of IT systems
Right.
with these sound stuff. So coming from the point where it's like, I know this stuff, I've taken the time to learn it.
Mhm.
It's like, not only are you doing the sound part, you're having to make sure all this interconnectivity and network stuff is
Everything is connected.
it's
working
all
properly.
it's all internet stuff. So it's like you got to be able to compensate me for that knowledge too. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's not the easiest thing in the world to learn. It's definitely it definitely takes some time to
Ditto.
kind of get it over your head.
I know.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the story. There was a giant ship. I don't know how big it was, but it was fucking huge. The owner of the ship hired somebody to come fix it. They couldn't fix it. They didn't know what was wrong. They had a second guy. He didn't know what was going on. Hired a third guy. Didn't know what was going on. So they finally found this other fourth guy who was like in his like mid 70s or something. He goes in and does this tiny little done, fixed. And he charges them like thousands of dollars. And it's not that you're paying for the job, you're paying for the knowledge.
You're paying for the experience and the knowledge that person has.
Exactly.
Because the reason they're able to fix it in 5 minutes is because
know.
they've done it
Yeah.
so many times and probably took them hours the first time to learn how to do it.
I could imagine so. The fucking headache that I can imagine
Oh,
being
yeah.
a ship.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Man. Yeah.
Fuck that. So going into your music,
Yeah.
I we were talking about that you are not a good singer.
Yeah, definitely not a good singer.
Have you
at
ever
all.
tried it though? Like, have you ever
I've
practiced it? Like, getting into it? Like,
I've tried
you
to
know?
sing in the car and like pitch
Okay.
match a bit.
Do you ever cover your ear and try to do it?
Not really.
It helps,
no,
man.
not really. I've heard it helps. I mean, I've had a lot of friends who are in choir, and
Mm-hmm.
they've heard me sing sometimes in the car. You know, matching a pitch. Like, oh, dude, like your voice isn't half bad. And I'm like you're joking, right? Like,
It's probably not that bad. It's just because
probably not. It's probably just your own ego. You're
it's your own
like,
personal.
"Oh." Yeah, it's like when you hear yourself talk, you're like,
Do I literally
Ugh.
did that the other day. I listened to myself and I'm like, I need to like blow my nose or something, or like pronunciate my words,
like
because a lot
get
of
the
times
pronunciation.
because I kind of slur them a little bit. See, now that I'm actually trying to, it kind of sounds a little bit more professional. But then as soon
Right.
as I go back into like the, fucking Santa Fe, bro.
Yeah,
it kind
bro.
of slurs together weirdly enough. But
Yeah.
what was I saying? Oh yeah, with the singing. I mean,
Mm.
because Kelsey sings, Eris sings, Julian sings,
Yeah.
Shay. I mean, of course. Now we just gotta get you.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I definitely think I would need a lot of work for it.
Fair.
I also think drumming and singing is a very. When I see drummers who can sing
Ooh.
and drum, I'm blown away. I'm like, bro,
How?
like how are you subdividing all this stuff on the drums and then you're able to throw vocals on top of it? Like,
It freaks me out. They put like a triple, and then they're like singing, like a note totally off the beat, and
yeah,
blowing my
dude,
mind.
it amazes me. I'm just like, how are you doing this? Like, and I thought, here's me subdividing, 3/2, and I thought that was pretty good, but singing and drumming, oh man, that's like a whole nother level, man.
Hopefully, in your future, it might come.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully I can. I am working on a solo EP. So,
Thank you for
yeah,
bringing that up,
yeah.
because I remember that you were saying that you started working on your own music.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going good. It's going a little slower just because with everything. I mean, definitely writing my own music is a bit of a challenge because I
Understood.
definitely get stuck with, oh, I like this, but then it's like, all right, I can't think of a melody to like put in this. So kind of like I got like the bass line there, I got rhythm, got my chords, and I'm just like, needs melody, man. I'm like, I don't know what melody to do, but then there's like some lead parts I'll be able to like MIDI out, and I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm like, that slaps.
You found it. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a time-consuming process, but I have recorded 2 songs that
Nice.
are almost ready to go with Jimmy. They absolutely sound freaking tastic.
Do
he
you know the
does.
name of the songs?
Do you want me to drop them?
If you would like to, if you want to keep it as a surprise, let them know to wait up a little bit.
All right. Well, here, let me go through my phone because
Okay,
I
alright.
I
Talking
don't
about
quite remember the names of them.
talking about phone and technology, though, where can we find you on social media? You got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
YouTube.
So I do have a TikTok. I haven't really posted much on it. I've definitely been lacking in that.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, I have 2 accounts. You can find my private account, Ripster97.
Okay.
That's my private account. I post some music stuff on that. That one I will have to accept friend requests just because I like to keep that one private.
Right.
My public one is rips_riffs97. That one's more of my public, like, here's my music stuff.
Got you.
I've been kind of taking a break from posting on social media. Kind of just been that anxiety with kind of the state of the world and
Yeah.
nasty algorithms that feed you stuff you don't want to see. That I'm kind of like, stop feeding me this stuff. Like I don't need to be worrying about this stuff, like, so.
No,
But
I get it.
yeah, TikTok. Oh geez, I think my TikTok is. Oh,
Let's see. We gotta go back into it.
Let's see. Let me see what it is.
It's just gotta be the same name for everything.
Ripster97.
Ripster97.
Yeah.
How
Kinda-
did you come up with Ripster? Rippie, Ripster.
So it's actually a nickname I got at my first job. Well, not my first job, but my first like IT job.
Okay.
There were 3 Justyns who worked in IT, so it got very confusing very fast. So obviously with my last name, I got called Rippie, and then it transitioned into Rip, and I kind of spun off of Rip and turned it into Ripster.
Ripster.
And I was like, I like that. I'm like, that's kind of a good
You're gonna
little
keep it.
like stage name kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So yeah, let me pull up one of the songs for my EP real quick.
Yeah, please.
I'll drop one of the names for it. So I think the best one I've written, it kind of has a kind of like this 80s rock
Ooh,
groove to it, kind of
okay,
80s pop rock stuff. I love 80s music rock, man. It's
okay,
just the
fair
80s
enough.
pop and rock, and you just can't go wrong.
Like 80s, as in Pantera, AC/DC.
More of like the kind of the one hit wonder pop stuff that like we built this city, starships, that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I didn't get into
You didn't
old
really get to
school.
that?
No,
Yeah,
no,
so I
honestly.
grew up on a lot of like 80s pop, like
Okay,
pop rock stuff. So
but
like it was just constantly in the
always available.
background. And I started on my own music and I kind of got the style and I was like, dang, I like this. It's kind of like a modern twist to it. So I guess one of the first probably songs I'll be releasing from my EP, hopefully here very soon, is called Fly Away.
Fly away.
Yeah, and it has a very
Okay.
kind of, it's very riffy. Lots of very kind of, upbeat riffs to it, synth lines, kind of a groovy bass line
I'm
to
excited.
it, kind
I
of.
mean, because it's gonna be your product.
Yeah,
No
it's
disrespect to
yeah.
any other artist, but
No,
that's all you right there.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, I mean, that song I wrote the synth parts.
Uh huh.
I came up with the chord progressions. I played drums. I played bass. I played guitar. I did everything instrumentally on
Right.
that. Jimmy just made me sound really good.
Oh,
Uh,
like vocally.
or instrumentally
Okay,
wise
okay.
and his recording techniques.
Put it together.
I gave him a demo and I was like, I want to go record this in the studio, and he did such an amazing job just putting
And
it together.
and talking about, I apologize, Tyler,
Who?
the producer,
Jimmy.
Jimmy. My
Jimmy.
apologies.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the name of the studio? How did you meet him?
Actually I can pull up Jimmy's socials as
Hell
well.
yeah. Because I know that you guys recorded the half of the last album with him, and you guys posted a lot of videos about it.
Yeah, so his studio is the recording center of New Mexico. So you can find him on Instagram at Jimmy J Music.
Gnarly.
So he posts a lot of his own content that he did here, but we met Jimmy actually through, as a band, we met him through Julian, because
Cool.
Jimmy is one of the sound techs over at Dirty Bourbon. He's like actually like the lead audio engineer over there.
Okay.
So that's kind of that's like his baby. That's where he loves to do a lot of his live sound stuff.
That's where he belongs.
That's yeah. I mean, he goes out and does other stuff, but like if you talk to him about like what's his baby, that's his baby. So that. And with that, before I was part of 7 Days Rest, they previously did a show there. They got in contact with Jimmy, got his information. And so with the current lineup of the band, we went there and recorded a demo or not a demo, but recorded a single with him.
Right.
Really loved it. Really loved it. We got back, went there again for another single.
Because it was so
Recorded
good.
because it was just so amazing. And I got talking to Jimmy about, just kind of my little audio world, and got in conversation with that, and that kind of led me on the route to, working with him for a little bit and learning that stuff, and him being a really, really fantastic teacher, and
Hell yeah.
teaching me kind of a lot of this stuff that I've, learned today, and I continue to learn, and still talk with him today, and, try to, still ask questions I have, because I mean, he's a really great guy. He's a really great guy, really great engineer. If any musicians are watching this and you're looking for someone who's very professional in what they do, Jimmy J
Definitely
Music,
call him.
Recording Center of New Mexico, you will not be disappointed
That is
from what you get back. Yeah.
Because I have heard about him a lot because of you guys, and throughout all the videos, the quality that has come out that he recorded, that is what's available on Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah, so the two singles that 7 Days Rest has out on Spotify, those were done with Jimmy.
With Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay. Check it out, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking gnarly.
And then, he's mixed a lot of, local rap, local country. Just really great. The guy has a really vast portfolio, can really do a lot. So, doesn't really what genre you are, he'll make it slap. So
I mean, that's the best thing about a professional engineer, because no matter what genre, he's gonna be like, I got you.
Yeah, he's like, oh, bro, like,
I
can do this.
I love how when one, how do I say this? When one engineer records one band and you watch them do their thing, and then he records you, and he's like, no, we're not gonna do the same thing that we did with them. You're different. We got to do this with you.
They got that ear where they can.
Yes.
They're like, no, we try this, like do that, and it's like you get the feedback and you hear it and you're like, ooh, yeah. You're like, yeah,
That's crispy. I know exactly what you
Yup.
mean. So with the music that you are writing and the music that you are tangled up with, what is your personal message that you're trying to put out there?
So I think kind of my personal message I think I'm trying to put out there, I guess with my own music, is just kind of really telling my life story. As of right now for my EP, I'm really not sure what I'm going to name it, but a lot of the songs that I've written have really come parts where I was really struggling in my life, and it's kind of weird. The songs turned out really happy instead of really
fair enough
in this point where I felt really kind of, sad and, kind of just not knowing what to do. I came up with these really happy riffs and upbeat, energetic riffs, and I just kind of wanted to, tell a story of, like, this is what happened to me, and kind of trying to make this EP, kind of like, this is my life story so far, highs and lows of it, man, because you can't really have one without another. So
talking about highs and lows, since you've been with the band for
3 years,
3 years,
yeah,
what are the highs and the lows? What is the highest feeling that you've had compared to the lowest feeling that you've had with the band? You don't have to give us too much juice. I'm just like in general.
Just like general, yeah. So I definitely think like one of the high points I've ever had with my music career so far is definitely a show we played up in Farmington.
Ooh,
Dude,
cool.
It was some of the cleanest playing I've ever played in my life. I was sitting there just nailing my parts.
Yep.
Fills were clean, and dude, I was just riding this wave of just like energy, just going crazy, in the parts with it. Got off stage, my shirt's drenched, I'm shaking because of adrenaline and whatnot.
That's how you know when it's good.
Oh yeah, that's how you know it's good. And I've definitely had low points where the venue kind of sucked. Nothing was good, the sound quality for, monitoring wasn't the best, and you couldn't really hear. You're, not playing well, and you're just kind of like, oh, that really sucked.
I know.
Like, how can we make it? But I always try to put a point of like, how can I make it better next time? Like, if I get in the situation again, what could I do one thing better to make it not as bad,
Right.
So.
Well, isn't that the reason why we record shows, so that we can see what we're doing? It's like, that looks kind of weird.
Yeah, and I usually I usually set up like a drum cam to record myself. That way I can kind of see and hear what's going on, because I like hearing myself play back. It's it's something that I think makes you for a drummer at least, it can really tell you how clean you're playing, because when you're on stage you can listen in and you're like, okay, yeah, that was clean. But you're also kind of listening to other things at the same time.
Yeah.
You're listening to the band for cues and that. So sometimes you might not, you kind of hit the rim of the drum. You're like, oh, crap, that kind of messed me up. So now I got to think about how to do that. So I like being able to kind of watch and see, okay, what was I doing with my hands? Was that clean? Or, oh, geez, I started that song way too freaking fast. Like,
Makes
all
sense.
this kind of stuff just to kind of, not criticize yourself, but to be like, okay, what are my weak points? Where am I lacking, and what can I improve on to make sure that I'm growing as much as I can?
Right. I mean, that's really what being a musician is all about, isn't it? I mean, and also it's a lot of breaking ourselves down while we're healing.
Yeah.
That goes into like a whole another writing process.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever actually do guitar, like as a as a full professional thing?
I don't think I'm quite confident
Fair
for
enough.
that yet. I do play guitar from time to time at my local church. I mean, I get compliments on it. I really don't think I'm that good at guitar.
The reason I ask is because at the last show that I saw you guys switched instruments.
Yeah.
And then you stayed on the drum set, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool to see him get up. But then again, who can play drums?
Yeah.
That's the other question.
Drumming's hard, man. Like,
I know. I tried it.
Like, sometimes, it makes things, look a little easy, it looks easy in videos, but, trying to do a lot of this, fast, or not fast playing, but very, very heavily syncopated, feeling it takes a lot of, listening to metronome and making sure things line up with it
Right.
and moving your limbs. I mean,
All
it's
of
a,
them.
it's a point of, making sure that you're not tensing up, and especially when it comes to like playing, double bass with the kick drums and whatnot, dude. It's training how to properly move your leg and what technique to use, because there's so many different techniques you can use out there, and it's learning how to get those muscles to work. So when you go for something like, I don't know, like a fast sextuplet fill where you're going like at 160 and going brrrr, to be able to get that sound, like it's demanding
God.
on your body. And and another thing too is being able just to hold a beat. It's hard because you're having, if you're just playing a standard rock beat, you're like boom chuck, boom boom chuck, you're playing eighth notes on this hand, you're doing 2 and 4 on this hand, maybe some ghost notes, and then you're doing 1 and 3 on this leg. And if you want to get fancy, you throw your left leg in and do something on the hi-hat if you're ever on the ride. So you're having to kind of like,
sounds like a headache.
it is.
Yeah.
It can be, especially when you get into like polyrhythms and whatnot, and you're trying to do like a I don't know, for example, like, think of like the 2/3 padding up, da 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 da, like
We're like you're doing 3 on
well,
one hand.
so
And then
yeah, so you're
7,
doing like so you're doing like 1 2 3 on like for instance, like if you're doing like 3 on your right hand, so like 1 2 3 1, and then you do 2 like that. And then if you want to get creative with it, you can throw in your feet and start going.
The
So
possibilities are endless. I can.
it's
imagine.
endless. It's just when you're practicing that, there's a lot of frustration that happens, and you're just like, ugh, but then that's to listen back to my drum tech from high school, like slow down the tempo and then build back up to it. Because then if you play it slow, you can play it fast.
I remember my teacher would always say that if you can't play it slow, you shouldn't play it at all.
You can't play it fast.
And a lot of people can't. They go, wait, what?
Yeah, they try to. And that's where playing clean comes from. It's, slowing it down to be able to, okay, am I hitting every part of the 16th note or sextuplet or 32nd note,
By any chance, do you remember when you were in band?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to, I can't remember what it was called. We would meet up in like Los Alamos, I think, and it would be a bunch of different schools, and each school band would be given a sheet of music, and we have 15 minutes to read it through and perform it.
Oh yeah.
You did that?
What do they call them?
I can't.
Was it stay? It was like, yes, I remember doing that. It was like the whole like band ensemble. You have to go in.
Yes.
You'd perform like 4 or 5 songs for judges, and then you would go in and sight read as a band.
That was fucking good memories,
dude.
I can't remember what it was called. But
I do not remember what it's called. If any of my, drum techs from high school or, music directors from high school, it'd be nice to know the name of it again because I'm forgetting it.
It was like State
something like that.
State Ensemble.
Was it ensemble?
I doubt.
Because there was solo.
Really
there was solo and ensemble.
When you were just by yourself.
Yeah, but then there was also like when the bands would. Yeah, because I actually remember Rio Rancho hosting that like 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah, Rio Rancho High School. That's the high school I graduated from, and we hosted it 2 years. And I remember, being like the person in the back, I'm like, oh, walking the band. Okay, yeah, you're in here, and giving them the sheet music because they weren't allowed to touch anything until they were like, okay, yeah, 15 minutes from now.
Boom.
So yeah,
I
miss
those
good.
days.
Those are good memories, man.
Oh my God.
Good freaking memories, man.
Jazz band too. Cause when you said you were in jazz band, I'm just like, I learned. Mr. Iliff, I apologize for what a piece of shit I was back in the day. But I doubt you're gonna be listening to this, but I love you. And one, he just graduated, and so he was like his first year being a teacher of a high school was my first year of being in high school. And the year before that, we had Mr. Kalsa,
right,
who wore a turban. He was very professional. I've known him since I was in elementary. The year before, I saw him directing the marching band for a football game, and I'm like, can't wait to get into that. Oh, I can't fucking wait. And then this fucking white guy, blue-eyed dude. Hi everybody. My name is Mr. Iliff. I love you, Mr. Iliff. No disrespect. If you ever watch this, I love you and I miss you. I was a pain in the ass for him. But yeah, no, fucking good days, man.
Oh yeah, dude, good.
So we have A little over 7 minutes.
Oh, damn.
Are there
Has it
any
been that
topics?
long?
Are there? I know.
Dude.
Well, okay. So on my personal Instagram, I can
Yeah.
go 4 hours recording,
Okay.
but because of the fact that I have a new account
Oh.
for the podcast
Oh yeah, that's right.
itself,
That's right. Yeah.
it's only for an
Yeah.
hour, and
Okay.
I hate that because I don't know when it's going to allow me to do more than an hour. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do some research on that.
I mean, we could just go until it cuts out, because I mean, we're recording this for YouTube too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's just go until it cuts out.
The YouTube is gonna be posted with the audio,
Okay.
and then
cool.
the Instagram gets the audio from.
It gets right. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I started recording at 8:04, and
Okay.
it is 8:53.
53. All
So
right.
we're like,
Well, is there anything else you want to ask me? I'll leave it to you. You're the host, man.
I'm trying to think, to be honest. Like, usually I like the questions to just come naturally. If I force it, I just go into a brain fart.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool.
I really asked everything. Like, if you were to move, where would you move? What are
Yeah.
your plans? What are you making? Who are you associated with? Where have you been? What were the highs and the lows? What are you doing in the
Yeah.
band? Are there any other bands? You write your own music.
Yeah.
You got your social media. But of course, there's topics that I miss out sometimes.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you want to tell your fans anything? Is there anything that you want to tell anybody out
I mean,
there?
if I have any fans out there, I mean, I really don't know, but I
Not
mean,
yet. They don't know they're fans yet. Okay.
If there's any fans out there, who've seen me drum or anything like that, thank you for, your support and whatnot. I mean, it means a lot. A lot of this music business is a lot of, it's a lot of time and tears and frustration, and it's really when you get those compliments, it really means a lot, because you're like, dang, like I'm doing good.
You're doing something right.
I'm doing something right. I'm doing something good, and when you get that recognition, it feels pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh
So,
God, I know.
yeah.
Especially at the last show that I hosted, like
Yeah.
a lot of people were talking about you guys. I'm like, I know. That's why I got it. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I do have the hoodie. Which on the back, if you're listening, go to Instagram or YouTube and check out this hoodie. You can buy one for
Some sick hoodies.
$35.
30,
40?
35? I think it was 30 or 35. I'll have to double check.
I can't
on
remember.
that.
You guys were like, "Oh, for you, it's no, fuck you. Like, take my money. It's a business,
Shut up and
guys.
take my money.
Exactly. Because if you're gonna be supporting somebody, pay full price. Like,
Yeah.
don't just
Yeah.
like, oh, because I know you're gonna give me a hookup. Like,
Yeah.
if you were a server at a restaurant, that's kind of like something else.
You can kind of do a little deal
Talk-
on the table.
Talking about being a server, because that was my first job,
Yeah.
and it really thickened my skin.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first job that you had?
So my first job was actually working at Dion's in high school.
Damn.
So I started out as a pizza maker, man.
Oh, the maker. Okay.
Yeah, dude. I did.
You know how to make the pizza.
I got the pizza, pepperoni pizza. Yeah, man. So I started out with that, man, and did that for 3-4 years before I landed in IT, and I've been. After, I worked with, my first IT gig as an intern for 3.5 years. And after that, it's kind of been all over the place.
yeah.
But I mean, it's COVID and all this crazy other, circumstances I can't control. I kind of bounced around, and finally back in IT in a different area with like database. I'm really enjoying it. It's really awesome. So, but yeah, starting off with pizza, man, a lot of memories of Dion's, man, that is.
Why do you guys, not you, but why does Dion's cook with so much oil?
So we actually
Why?
don't. We don't cook a lot of oil. Actually, I think it comes
Is it
from
just cheese.
I think it just comes from the cheese and the pepperoni. I think it's the type of cheese and the type of pepperoni they use,
Fair
and
enough.
they cook them at like 500 degrees.
Well,
so
I can hurry up. Yeah.
insider secret. So
The hotter it is, the quicker it's gonna.
yeah.
Get to
Oh, dude, I got scars from
I
ovens,
can
man,
imagine.
blistering. It was a fun job though. For from being 17 to around 20, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
a fun job. It was very high energetic. You had to run a lot. I love doing dishes. So anytime I got to hop on dishes, dude, go in there, blast my music.
Oh my God, I
you'd be
know.
blasting I Prevail back there and just like rocking out doing dishes. Everyone would come back in and be like, dude, can you turn down your music? And I'm like, nope. Like, yeah, dude.
This is my zone.
I'm
Get
like,
out of here.
I'm like, dude, this is my dish zone. Like, we're closing. I want to get out fast. Like, leave my music on, man.
Fair
like,
enough. It's kind
it's-
of like your encouragement.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, dude,
Okay, I'm in a zone.
even to work this day, dude, I got noise canceling headphones and I block everything out. I'm just like, and like
yeah.
2 hours pass by and I'm like, oh well, I should go eat something or get up so I don't get a blood clot in my leg.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's avoid that.
yeah.
I'm curious. In an alternate universe, if you're
Mhm.
not doing music, what are you doing? What is the alternate
Oh
universe
man,
version of Justyn Rippie doing?
probably something related in IT or software
Re-
development.
okay.
I mean, I would like to do that. I would love to do everything. That's the problem. I crave knowledge. I love
Dope.
knowing everything. It's honestly a weakness if I'm being honest,
Really?
because I tend to get like in too many areas and I'm like, oh, I want to go do this, I'll do this, and I'm like, bro, slow down, focus on
One at
like
a time.
one or two things maximum. Like, but that's my thing, dude. I love learning new stuff. Like I just there's like this thing you learn about and you're like, oh yes, this is awesome.
It is funny you say that because I had a conversation with you, I think 2 shows ago, where you were saying that your teacher, or no, what was it? That a lot of teachers will say that it's difficult, but your teacher
Mhm.
was like, just understand this and it'll be
Yeah,
so much easier, right?
weren't we talking about like mathematics or something like that, or coding or something like
Coding.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's how I think it's how the information is presented,
Okay.
and it's how I think it's the willingness and how much that person has passion for it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I tutored math when I was doing my degree at CNM, finishing my associates at CNM, and I tutored math for APS, and I loved it. I
Nice.
absolutely loved it, and that love for tutoring showed to the students, and they were like, "Dude, you're like the best tutor, man. Like you made this algebra 2 make like so much more sense. Like you made it super easy." And I'm just like,
Yep.
I got passion for this. Like, and then the way I learned it was not complicated. The teacher had passion for it.
Right.
But not only that, they showed me where it can be applied. They showed me this is what you can do with this. And I was like, oh,
That's what they
I'm
didn't
like,
do.
that's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because like in high school, they're like, all right, do this algebra problem, and then you're like, I'm not gonna be a contractor. I'm not gonna do construction. I'm not
yeah,
gonna
and
like give me an idea of why I would be using this.
yeah, so something that I use a lot, with audio that I never really thought about with math is all this audio and gain and volume stuff is based off of logarithms.
Really.
So if you know logarithms, you can understand that 1 decimal is a huge jump. Like if you look at kind of like a logarithm, and like exponential, they go like this.
Okay.
It's like when you look at that in terms of like going down really small and whatnot, it's drastic. Like to be able to go from like 2 to 8, that's a big jump in the turn
Yeah.
of like that, So, learning some of that math on the audio side kind of allows me to be, I can throw some of the mathematics I've learned behind this and
Smart.
kind of, be like, okay, well, if this is happening, yeah, I can be like a nerd and be like, oh, if this is this and this is that, I can kind of judge based off of this.
It's
And
like you're not only relying on your ears, you're relying on the intelligence
science.
of like.
Yeah, I'm relying on the science of it,
Math.
which is kind of a cool thing to know about
Gotcha.
it too, because the science does help with it, but I mean, ultimately, there's really not the perfect environment. I mean, the perfect environment would, it's kind of like like when you learn physics, it's like, okay, we're gonna neglect air resistance for this problem because we don't want to throw that equation in because it's gonna make it 10 times harder.
It's
So
gonna
we
complicate
just
it, yeah.
assume that it's a perfect world. So
Oh, I wish.
oh, dude, I wish too, man. But
God damn.
nothing's a perfect world. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned from my computer science degree that really, being in IT and doing the computer science that really have translated into the music world. And I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for that because it's kind of helping me to kind of like bring my own little vision of, okay, what does Justyn want to do? What
I like that.
what if I were to start a business, for example, or if I wanted to do something of my own with my skill set, what could I make? What could I go do with that?
A lot.
Yeah. And, kind of, I guess my newest hobby or learning path is learning DMX lighting and how to program them.
Ooh.
So,
Would you be able to help me learn how to use that fucker?
dude, I
The
got
Base 70.
dude, I got those exact same lights at
Yeah?
my church.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're
Dude, I bought cheap,
inexpensive.
dude. But yeah, dude, once I know how to do it, dude, I'll be down to help you
Super
out.
quick. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of, when I was working at the bar, learning under sound under Jimmy, I also got a little bit of experience learning how to do DMX control. And I was like, oh man, would be really sick. It would be like to program a light show for these bands, just have the lights go like crazy and whatnot. Because I would love playing with them, and like, when they would hit like a big chorus, I would just flash them like crazy. And I'm like, oh, this is so sick.
It brings that extra life.
Yeah,
to it.
or like when we would have a DJ who would come in on Thursday sometimes, and when they would bring some of like kind of towards the end of the night, we'd do like kind of like some hip hop line dances, kind of like the really big popular ones. Oh, dude, I would go freaking ham with the lights. I'd be sitting there just going that. Everyone's just like on the stage, just like doing that, and I'm like, you have no idea, it's me doing it back here. Like, this is sick.
That's the fucking best part.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have reached the end of this podcast with Mr. Justyn Rippie. Thank you for being here, dude.
Oh, dude,
really
thank you for
it.
having me on, man.
And I hope in the future that we can get the band, the full band in the podcast.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
And well, there it is. All right, guys. Well, if you're listening to this podcast, it is unavailable through video because of the fact that Instagram says "fuck me."
Sad.
It doesn't want to do any more recording, which is okay.
It's okay.
But at the same time, we did put out the plugs. We talked about the core things that I wanted to get to. Really quick before we stop recording our audio, where can we find you on social media? I know we already said that. Ripster.
We did mention that. So my personal social media for Instagram is Ripster97.
Gnarly.
It ends with 2 R's because you got to be different. You got to be a little bit extra sometimes.
I feel it.
And then my music account is rips_riffs97. But if you go to my main personal one, I have all the links for all my Instagram stuff. My
Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook's just Justyn Rippie. I'm not as active on there. I'm trying to get more active on it. I'm really trying to figure out what I want to use Facebook for. TikTok is the same thing, Ripster97. So I'm trying to be better about trying to build my social media presence and trying to figure out what the hell I want to do.
At least you're
for
trying.
social media, presence, trying to figure out, do I want to do like little snippets of me running sound, doing like, day in life as an audio engineer at, Sunday morning, Sunday morning audio engineer, what do I do in a Sunday morning, or stuff like that, just kind of weird stuff just to get stuff out there.
I think you should because I'm trying to do the same thing. Wait, why did my light turn off? My goodness.
That's weird.
I'm trying to do the same thing with YouTube and Instagram or TikTok. I'm just lazy.
Yeah, well, it takes some energy with it too. Gotta get
to sit down and actually fucking do it.
Yeah. Well, my problem is I get in the zone and I just forget about my phone. So
yeah, see, that's what I need to do. I need to put it away and actually get on my computer and actually fucking do it.
Yeah.
Fucking hey, man.
Yeah.
Any other messages you want to give out to the crowd, buddy?
No, I think I'm good, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, and hope we can do this again sometime, man. Be fun.
I'm hoping so before I leave. Because
that'd be sick, man.
It would be nice to have the entire band. If you guys are interested in the band 7 Days Rest, definitely go to Spotify or
Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Yep.
Basically all the major social media platforms.
Check them out, guys. They really do a killer fucking job, especially live. They
and then go ahead and give a follow to all the other band members. They post some of their own content too.
Yep.
So all the support's appreciated.
Exactly. By the way, guys, on the podcast we also have a interview with Shay, who is the lead vocalist. We have a podcast with Kelsey, who is the pianist, bassist, guitarist, and
violist.
There you go, violist and vocals as well. She also does her own thing. She has her own band.
Kelsey's a great musician too.
Very curious. I'm trying to get Julian, the bassist, and Eris, the guitarist, back or onto the podcast so that I can get everybody individually, and then hopefully we'll have the entire band. So definitely check it out. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera. It's like
it's just habit.
It really is.
Habit. Yeah.
You need to like say hello to them. All right, that's it, guys. I'm leaving.
All right.
Bye.
Peace out.
Where's my mouse?